Tonight on Ctv3 News, we take you to the village of San Lazaro where one woman says she was kidnapped, beaten and robbed by persons she socialized with from the same village. One suspect remains detained for the murder and attempted murder of Roberto Villafranco and Felipe Vasquez. We take you back to the scene where the deadly incident occurred. Like how I never read news, so I'm not conscious. Tonight on Ctv3 News, a targeted crime and not a robbery. Police believe Roberto Villafranco, who was murdered on Tuesday last while out delivering water, was lured to his death. He was the intended target. 2 lives lost and several injured in traffic accident in the West. School bus operators set to benefit from a new diesel subsidy aimed at alleviating rising fuel expenses. And Belize's workers unite in powerful Labor Day rally demanding justice, rights, and economic relief. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Monday, May 4th, 2023.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
From Belize to Mexico, the journey of football's greatest moments will unite nations. Mexico, the only country to host the World Cup 3 times, 1970, 1986, and now in 2026, you can be a part of the game with Centaur. We're sending you and a friend to experience the opening of the World Cup firsthand. 2 tickets, flights, 3-night stay, and daily cash. One incredible opportunity. How to enter? Sign up for one of our new Express Plus bundles. Remember, faster speeds mean more entries. Existing customers, keep your account at 0 balance or pay in advance to be eligible. Plus, engage with us on social media for even more chances to win. The 2026 World Cup in Mexico awaits. Don't just watch, be part of it and score big with Centaur.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you. From faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once. Or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
My name is Dr. Rosita Jimenez, and I'm a general laparoscopic surgeon. We have just finished an emergency appendectomy, and we're now moving on to our second operating theater for our laparoscopic gallbladder screening. Basically, this is very easy to diagnose. Simple abdominal ultrasound or a pan-abdominal ultrasound can give us the diagnosis. Laparoscopic gallbladder removal surgeries, 90 to 80% of the time, are done due to gallstones. However, there are other conditions like tumors, malfunctioning of the gallbladder that also are reasons to get a laparoscopic surgery. We also have an amazing CT scan and X-ray unit who work hand in hand with our doctors. Instruments used in laparoscopic surgery are chokers like these. It makes it easy for us to do the surgery through these entry ports. The recovery process is excellent. And basically, within a week, you are back up, ready to do your job, your daily life activity, like if you hadn't had this surgery.
The Orange Walk Town Council is inviting applications from suitably qualified and motivated individuals to fill 5 garbage fee collector positions within our revenue department. Minimum requirements: high school diploma, friendly and people-oriented personality, tech-savvy, must own reliable transportation, preferably a motorcycle, honest and dependable. Interested applicants are asked to submit the following documents: application letter, copy of high school diploma, valid social security card, 2 character references. Applications must be submitted in person to the Orange Walk Town Council office by February 20th, 2026. Join our team and contribute to keeping Orange Walk clean and organized.
Good evening with your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Police have released the suspect they have detained for the murder of 42-year-old Roberto Villafranco, a delivery driver from Trinidad Village, and attempted murder of 25-year-old Felipe Vasquez. Both men employees of Zeta Water were out on deliveries when they got a call requesting their service on the Champagne Ridge Road. That is where Villafranco met face-to-face with death, and while Vasquez managed to escape, he sustained a gunshot wound to the chest. While initially police suspected that robbery was the motive, further investigations are pointing to a targeted crime.
Information is that both were called to that area by an unknown caller who had asked for water. When they arrived, as soon as the driver stepped out, he was shot. We had one suspect in custody, but he has been released after investigation. An investigation continues into this report.
Has police been able to establish if this was an intended robbery?
We have established that it was not a robbery, it was a targeted shooting.
2 fatalities and multiple injuries resulted from a serious 3-vehicle crash on the George Price Highway Saturday evening. The accident took place around 7 p.m. between miles 16 and 17. The collision involved a Ford Escape SUV, a Ford Transit van, and a motorcycle. Upon arrival at the scene, police observed the white Ford Transit van with significant front-end damage parked off the roadway. Inside the van, a female passenger was trapped and bleeding from the face, while another injured woman was seated outside the vehicle. Other occupants had already been transported to Belize City for further medical care. On the opposite side of the highway, officers found a badly damaged black Ford Escape SUV. Inside, 2 men appeared motionless and trapped in the wreckage. About 100 feet away, investigators also discovered a damaged black motorcycle identified as an AKT model. Preliminary investigation suggests that 63-year-old electrician Nelson Anthony Hemsley of Mahogany Heights was driving the SUV from Belize City towards Belmopan when he collided with a motorcycle traveling in the same direction. Witnesses indicate that overtaking may have played a role in the crash, where both Hemsley and his passenger, 39-year-old Glenn Nelson Lamb of Roaring Creek Village, sustained fatal injuries. Police believe that Hemsley lost control of his vehicle, causing it to veer into oncoming traffic and collide head-on with the Ford Transit van.
David Lambe, information is that the black SUV hit the motorcycle first, or thereafter a swerve into the lane of the oncoming van, causing a head-on collision. Hemsley and Lamb were taken to the KHMH, where they were pronounced dead on arrival. An investigation is being carried out into this fatal road traffic accident.
Was there any indication of speeding or reckless driving?
The information we have, yes, they were speeding, but we will await the urine sample results to determine if alcohol was a factor.
Who was speeding?
The SUV vehicle.
What are the conditions of the injured victims?
The persons are all in stable condition and they are receiving treatment. Some were released and some are receiving further treatment.
The The driver of the van, Chadwick Isagire, and passengers Melanie Blake, Crystal Banks, Ashley Brown, and Tamara Ramsey were listed as stable and are currently under observation. Several other individuals involved in the crash received treatment and were discharged without life-threatening injuries. Additionally, the motorcyclist, identified as David Lambie, was injured and transported to a medical facility for treatment. Tonight, police are looking for two persons of interest in relation to the murder of 70-year-old Francisco Perfecto Garcia, who was found dead in a bushy area near his farm located on the Santa Marta Road in Orange Walk. He was found lying on his side, partially covered with a sheet and bearing multiple chop wounds to the face. Investigators believe the elderly man was attacked sometime between the night of Sunday, April 26th and the wee hours of Monday, April 27th, possibly inside his home before being moved outside. According to ACP Alberto Romero, the persons they are looking for are believed to have farmed in the same area.
Information is that he was taking care of his farm when he was attacked by persons unknown. An investigation is being carried out, and we are seeking two persons of interest who can assist with this investigation.
Regarding that question, is there or have there been any suspect identified or detained?
No one is detained, but like I mentioned, we are seeking for two persons of interest who also have a farm in that area. Not that we know of. I know some items were stolen from his farm.
Yes, there's a mention of gas tanks and a cell phone. Were any of those recovered?
Two of the items were recovered, and so we are seeking these persons for questioning.
Consumer prices in Belize continue to rise in March 2026, with the latest data indicating a national inflation rate of 1.9% when compared to the same month last year. According to the Statistical Institute of Belize, the consumer price index increased to 121.9, up from 119.7 in March 2025. The increase in inflation was primarily driven by higher fuel prices, rising food costs, and increased electricity tariffs. The transport category recorded a 3.5% increase, marking the first time in over a year that this category has experienced positive inflation. This was largely due to higher fuel prices, with regular gasoline rising by nearly $1 per gallon, alongside increases in diesel and premium fuel. Food and non-alcoholic beverages also contributed significantly to the rise in consumer prices, increasing by 2%. Within this category, higher costs were recorded for meat such as beef, pork, and poultry, as well as sugar, cereal products, and fresh fruits like avocados. Non-alcoholic beverages also became more expensive, driven by increases in the prices of instant coffee, juices, soft drinks, and purified water. House-related costs saw a 1.2% increase, largely due to higher electricity rates introduced earlier this year. Additionally, the cost of dining out rose, with restaurants and accommodation services increasing by 3.1%, while clothing and footwear prices were up by 2.5%. On a month-to-month basis, inflation stood at 1.1% between February and March 2026. This short-term increase was mainly attributed to a sharp 6.2% rise in transport costs, again driven by higher fuel prices. Food prices also edged up slightly over the one-month period due to increases in fresh fruit prices. For the first quarter of 2026, the year-to-date inflation rate stood at 0.9%. Food and non-alcoholic beverages were the largest contributors, followed by housing and utilities, restaurant, and health services. In contrast, the transport category showed an overall decline for the year-to-date period, reflecting lower fuel prices earlier in the year despite the recent increases. Overall, the data highlights a steady rise in the cost of living, particularly in essential areas such as food, fuel, and electricity. These increases continue to place pressure on household budgets, even as inflation remains relatively moderate compared to previous years. Coming up next, Minister Francis Fonseca undergoes a major heart surgery. Stay tuned.
My name is Dr. Rosita Jimenez, and I'm a general laparoscopic surgeon. We have just finished an emergency appendectomy, and we're now moving on to our second operating theater for laparoscopic gallbladder screening. Basically, this is very easy to diagnose. Simple abdominal ultrasound or a pan-abdominal ultrasound can give us the diagnosis. Laparoscopic gallbladder removal surgeries, 90 to 80% of the time, are done due to gallstones. However, there are other conditions like tumors, malfunctioning of the gallbladder that also are reasons to get a laparoscopic surgery. We also have an amazing CT scan and X-ray unit who work hand in hand with our doctors. Instruments used in laparoscopic surgery are chokers like these. It makes it easy for us to do the surgery through these entry ports. The recovery process is excellent. And basically, within a week, you are back up, ready to do your job, your daily life activity, like if you hadn't had this surgery.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
From Belize to Mexico, the journey of football's greatest moments will unite nations. Mexico, the only country to host the World Cup 3 times, 1970, 1986, and now in 2026, you can be a part of the game with Centaur. We're sending you and a friend to experience the opening of the World Cup firsthand. 2 tickets, flights, 3-night stay, and daily cash. One incredible opportunity. How to enter? Sign up for one of our new Express Plus bundles. Remember, faster speeds mean more entries. Existing customers, keep your account at 0 balance or pay in advance to be eligible. Plus, engage with us on social media for even more chances to win. The 2026 World Cup in Mexico awaits. Don't just watch, be part of it and score big with Centaur.
The Belize Court of Appeal has reaffirmed the conviction and 5-year imprisonment of Ankdome for her deliberate neglect, which resulted in the death of her 13-year-old adopted daughter, Faylin Cannon. In a ruling issued on Thursday, the appellate court dismissed all 14 grounds of her appeal, affirming that the original trial was conducted fairly and that the sentence was proportionate to the severity of the crime. The case centered around a disturbing period of neglect spanning from January to July 2017, during which Faye was deprived of proper nutrition and necessary medical attention. Medical experts testified that Faye was severely undernourished, resembling a child much younger than her age, and suffered from untreated infections and internal injuries, including fractured ribs. Testimony from Faye's sister Zoe painted a grim picture, revealing that while Dome and her husband ate prepared meals, the children were confined to a monotonous diet of bread and sausages. A key issue in the appeal was Dome's neglect to seek professional and medical assistance as Faye's health worsened. Evidence indicated that although Dome frequently traveled to Belize City for her own medical treatments, she opted to perform Reiki healing rituals on her daughter instead of consulting a doctor. The judges noted that Dome had the financial capacity to care for her children, receiving over $5,000 each month in maintenance payments, yet she only contacted medical professionals after Faye had already died on her bedroom floor. The appellate court underscored that the 5-year sentence was fitting, highlighting Dome's significant culpability and the grave harm caused by her neglect. Belize's school bus operators are set to benefit from a new diesel subsidy aimed at alleviating rising fuel expenses. The Ministry of Education announced that a $3 Belize per gallon subsidy will be provided to support transportation for over 14,000 students and teachers across the country. This measure is intended to offer immediate relief amid escalating fuel costs that threaten to disrupt daily school commutes. The subsidy, which is retroactive to April 13, 2026, will assist 278 bus routes nationwide. According to the MOE, the initiative helps ensure buses remain operational, keeping students in school and maintaining confidence in Belize's education system. By easing fuel costs, the subsidy keeps buses on the road, students in school, and families confident in a reliable education system, the department stated. Funding for this program amounts at approximately $233,755.55 over an 11-week period, sourced from the ministry's recurrent budget. The calculation is based on an average fuel efficiency of 7 miles per gallon across all routes. In addition to the subsidy, new bus fares took effect today. The Ministry of Transport announced the revised maximum rates for bus stops across Belize. The updated fares include an increase of 50 cents for shorter stops and a cap of $1 for longer routes, reflecting recent adjustments. These measures come in the wake of last Monday's bus blockade in Orange Walk, when operators shut down services and blocked access at the Tower Hill Bridge. The protest prompted urgent discussions with Transport Minister Dr. Louisa Bani and officials from the Office of the Prime Minister. The outcome was an agreement aimed at resolving the dispute. Belize's workers took to the streets in a strong and unified display during its annual Labor Day rally hosted by the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, NTUCB, sending a clear message under the AIR's theme, Workers' Rights, Nation Strength. The rally saw participation not only from union members but also from a wide cross-section of society, including the Belize Energy Workers Union, BEW, the Belize Communication Workers Union, BCW, farmers, and members of the Cuban Medical Brigade, all standing in solidarity with Belize's workforce. From retired workers still struggling to secure long overdue severance benefits to commuters grappling with rising bus fares and escalating fuel prices, the concerns raised reflected the mounting pressures facing everyday Belizeans. These formed the backbone of this year's demonstration as participants called for urgent action and accountability. NTUCB President Ella Waite described the rally as both impactful and necessary, noting that it provided a critical platform to highlight workers' concerns. She shared that discussions held were productive and expressed cautious optimism that progress is being made, particularly with the new minister appearing committed to addressing key labor matters.
I think he's serious about what he's saying today. Believe me, we will hold him accountable to it. We won't let it slip. But I'm just hoping they'll keep him here for a while because you've seen two Labour ministers come into the department and leave so quickly. And we've always been saying it's simply because they treat the Labour Department as a secondary, third ministry that really has no relevance, and that's not the case for us. As we told him, he's the most important minister for us for the Labour movement. But I think he's serious about the changes he wishes to implement, but standing beside us by ensuring that the Hush bill get passed. And I'm also happy that he spoke positively in reference to the severance issue with the justice group that is here today. I'm happy for that.
A central issue raised during the rally was the long-anticipated Occupational Safety and Health (OSH) bill. Minister of Labor Kareem Musa acknowledged delays in the bill's progress, but assured the public that it is still moving forward through the necessary processes.
And so, as I understand it, this week the OSH bill went to the Senate, and there was an issue that was raised at the House committee level. As you know, the OSH bill has gone to stakeholders. It has gone through over a decade of consultations. It is something that the National Trade Union Congress of Belize has been pushing, and we in the government support. And so I hope that is only a hiccup, but the issue that is raised is one specific issue, that is domestic workers in households. So the legislation, as it is currently drafted, covers domestics who work for companies, domestics who work for the government. But in terms of enforcing and inspecting households, because we're looking now at domestics working in households, it was discussed that, like I said, all the consultations, that might have been something very difficult. We're not against reviewing it at all. If it is a position after hearing all the facts and hearing all the deliberations that the senators believe should be made an amendment, they have the power to make that amendment and propose it to us. But at the time it was considered, when the final draft was made, it seemed a bit unreasonable that every single household can be inspected in terms of domestics. There will still be the requirement in terms of protecting domestics who work in households, but to include it in the law as one of the inspection sites for all the labor officers, it's a lot.
Minister Musa also spoke on the ongoing concerns surrounding severance, one of the rally's major talking points, signaling that government remains engaged in addressing the matter.
As you rightly pointed out, whenever there is a dispute between employer and employee, in this particular case it is BEL and the workers' union, the Labor Department has a review authority to review the particulars of the case. That is what is currently taking place at the moment. Thereafter, if it is that the employer, and from the sounds of it, the employer wants to go further with legal action. We just went through an entire CCJ case on similar facts. And so I would want to see the difference in the two cases, because I'm not convinced of the difference of that from what I am observing. But BL is saying that they're not on all fours, and so they want to challenge it and take it to the CCJ. You heard a very impassioned plea today, an emotional plea from one of the workers. I think we have to have a heart sometimes. We have to consider that these workers out here are saying they were not paid severance. It's either a yes or a no that they were paid severance. Some cases do not have to go to the CCJ. That's going to take years. And Ms. Stain cannot go through a CCJ, go through the High Court, then the Court of Appeal, then the CCJ. So I am imploring on them as the Minister of Labor, let us look at it to see how it is that we can accommodate, because from what they're saying, they were not paid their severance.
This year's Labor Day rally went beyond commemoration, emerging as a powerful call for action, unity, and sustained advocacy as Belizean workers continue to push for fair treatment, improved conditions, and economic relief. While contraceptive access has not traditionally been framed as a labor issue in Belize, questions are now emerging about how upcoming policy changes could impact workers, particularly women navigating new requirements for obtaining prescriptions. Minister of Labor Karim Musa addressed the matter, noting that it has not yet been brought forward as a formal labor concern.
I think the Ministry of Health made the right decision in shelving that. Hopefully longer than a year. It is going to be a review process. But yes, those are the kinds of questions that will need to be answered by the Ministry and the Labor Department in terms of offering time off to go to the doctor to get your prescription, yes. But that's not right now, and hopefully that's not something we'll have to do.
So you don't support the requirement?
I hear the argument from the professionals, the healthcare professionals, but I prefer to hear the argument of the women who it affects. And they have said loud and clear and resoundingly that they understand their bodies better than any man can, so I won't even attempt to understand it because I'm not an expert. Neither am I a healthcare professional expert, but at the end of the day, I think we have to listen to our women.
As the policy change approaches, the conversation may continue to evolve, potentially bringing greater attention to how healthcare access intersects with labor rights in Belize. Belize's consumer confidence declined notably in March 2026, signaling growth concerns among households about both current and future economic conditions. The latest figures from the Statistical Institute of Belize show that the National Consumer Confidence Index fell by 4.5%, dropping from 47.8 in February to 45.7 in March. Confidence in making major purchases also declined, with the durable goods component falling by 4.3%. Despite some isolated improvements among certain groups, including persons ages 35 to 44 and individuals of Maya descent, the overall trend points to increasing caution among Belizean consumers. With the index remaining below the neutral threshold at 50, the data suggested that pessimism continues to overweight optimism, potentially signaling slower household spending and economic activity in the months ahead. Turning now to Belize's external trade activity for the month of March 2026, the country saw imports rising sharply from domestic exports decline, according to the latest figures from the Statistical Institute of Belize. Total merchandise imports for the month surged to $32.1 million, representing a substantial 38.7% increase compared to $231.8 million recorded in March of last year. Imports of manufactured goods recorded one of the largest increases, jumping by $18.8 million due to higher purchase of construction materials such as aluminum, steel coils, and metal components. The category of machinery and transport equipment also saw a notable increase of $17 million, reflecting higher imports of telecommunications equipment, vehicles, and air conditioning parts. For the first time in 3 months of the year, imports totaled $807.1 million, up 16.5% compared to the same period in 2025, with machinery and fuel continuing to drive the increase. Exports of red kidney beans saw the largest drop, failing by $2.1 million due to lower export volumes. There were also no formal cattle exports recorded for the month, compared to $1.9 million on exports last year. Earnings from citrus products declined by 1.8 million, reflecting reduced sales of orange concentrate, while sugar exports were down by 0.8 million due to both lower volumes and weaker market prices. Looking at export destinations, Belize saw reduced earnings from CARICOM countries, the United Kingdom, and Mexico, mainly due to lower sales of beans, citrus, cattle, and sugar. However, exports to other European Union countries and Central America recorded increases, supported by stronger banana and animal feed sales. For the first quarter of 2026, total exports stood at 65.4 million, representing a 9.1% decrease compared to the same period last year. Declines in sugar, citrus, cattle, and beans were the main contributors to this drop, although gains in marine products and banana exports helped to partially offset the losses. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
My name is Dr. Rosita Jimenez, and I'm a general laparoscopic surgeon. We have just finished an emergency appendectomy, and we're now moving on to our second operating theater for our laparoscopic gallbladder screening. Basically, this is very easy to diagnose. Simple abdominal ultrasound or a pan-abdominal ultrasound can give us the diagnosis. Laparoscopic gallbladder removal surgeries, 90 to 80% of the time, are done due to gallstones. However, there are other conditions like tumors, malfunctioning of the gallbladder that also are reasons to get a laparoscopic surgery. We also have an amazing CT scan and X-ray unit who work hand in hand with our doctors. Instruments used in laparoscopic surgery are chokers like these. It makes it easy for us to do the surgery through these entry ports. The recovery process is excellent. And basically, within a week, you are back up, ready to do your job, your daily life activity, like if you hadn't had this surgery.
From Belize to Mexico, the journey of football's greatest moments will unite nations. Mexico, the only country to host the World Cup 3 times, 1970, 1986, and now in 2026, you can be a part of the game with Centaur. We're sending you and a friend to experience the opening of the World Cup firsthand. 2 tickets, flights, 3-night stay, and daily cash. One incredible opportunity. How to enter? Sign up for one of our new Express Plus bundles. Remember, faster speeds mean more entries. Existing customers, keep your account at 0 balance or pay in advance to be eligible. Plus, engage with us on social media for even more chances to win. The 2026 World Cup in Mexico awaits. Don't just watch, be part of it and score big with Centaur.
In a significant step towards climate resilience, Belize has activated its groundbreaking Anticipatory Action AA mechanism to combat the looming threat of drought. This initiative, a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and New Growth Industries, the National Meteorological Service, and the United Nations World Food Programme WFP, aims to provide early support to vulnerable farmers based on scientific weather forecast. The decision follows a forecast predicting below average rainfall for the upcoming season, which could severely impact rain-fed agriculture in the drought-prone districts of Orange Walk, Corozal, and Cayo. In response, the pre-selected farmers in these areas will receive early cash assistance, empowering them to implement preventative measures such as purchasing water storage equipment, drought-resistant seeds, or irrigation systems. This proactive approach is designed to help farmers safeguard their crops, protect their livelihoods, and reduce the damage caused by the anticipated dry conditions. This pioneering system is the result of nearly 2 years of close cooperation between Belize's agricultural authorities, meteorologists, and WFP experts. It exemplifies the government's commitment to integrating science and data into data risk management, aiming to shield the smallholder farmers from climate shocks before they escalate into full-blown crisis. The development of Belize's AA mechanism comes amid increasing climate variability driven by El Nino, Southern Oscillation, and ENSO conditions. Experts predict a high likelihood of El Nino developing by July, which typically intensifies drought events, particularly affecting the northern and western regions. The partnership with WFP has also brought on enhancing the use of climate data for timely early warning systems. Efforts have been made to improve the interpretation of seasonal forecasts, support effective communication of early alerts, and integrate climate information into decision-making processes. This milestone in Belize's climate adaptation journey has been made possible through generous contributions from WFP's international partners, including the Government of Canada, Ireland, the United States, and the European Union. Their support has been instrumental in establishing this innovative early action framework, allowing Belize to respond swiftly and effectively to climate risk. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Education, Culture, Science, and Technology, Honorable Francis Fonseca, has proceeded on leave, reportedly for 2 weeks after undergoing heart surgery at the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital. While no additional details were provided, the Office of the Prime Minister notified that the medical procedure was successful and that the Honorable Minister will proceed on a period of medical leave. The Cabinet also extended best wishes for a full and a speedy recovery to Minister Fonseca. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, May 5th, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.